Today is a public availability session that will address the Hopewell Precision Superfund site. I know this is a meeting that you all have been waiting for a rather long time, and we're happy to be here to present to you how we're going to hook you all up to public water. We have Lorenzo Thantu. He has been the project manager on this site for many, many years. Many of you may already know him. You may know me as well. You may never have seen me in person, but you have talked to me on the phone. So please do not, be a stranger to me. He's going to discuss the Hopewell Precision Operable Unit 2. And then we'll have questions and answers after the PowerPoint presentation is completed by Lorenzo. We also have Sal Badalamenti. He is the section chief. And we have with Conti, J. Keith Walker. And with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, West Point, Rich Gadek. He's not here. Drew Smith, Daryl Salomon, Mike Dolly, Joshua Watts, Ellen Gallery, and Paul Gebron. He's with CDM. He's right here. And now Lorenzo will start the presentation. Usually public availabilities are very informal, but we know that many people in the community will come out at one time, so that's why we have this presentation for you. So if you can just bear with Lorenzo to go through the PowerPoint presentation, then we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
Can you all still hear me all right? Thank you, Cecilia. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for coming to our public meeting tonight. This is a major, major milestone. I was actually very happy when we scheduled this meeting in the beginning of February. I've been so looking forward to it. We only have good news to share with you. Needless to say, it's been a long time since we issued the record of decision back in September 2008 on the Hopewell site, selecting the alternate water supply distribution system as selected remedy. During those years, we went through a minimum of 5 potential sources of water to supply the people in the impacted Hopewell hookup area. And I want to especially thank tonight former Supervisor John Hickman. He was the one who brought to EPA's attention the Cannon Wellfield, located on 376, Route 376, as source of water for the Hopewell North Water District, which was created by the town board 3 years ago. And so during these years, Supervisor Hickman and several of the community residents in the area, especially Deborah Hall, have played an instrumental role in bringing us to where we are tonight. Having said that, I'm just going to quickly go through my presentation, not to talk about history of Hopewell Superfund site. Everybody knows about it. Only the good news, why we are here tonight. That's the upstart on the construction of the water distribution system. I want to quickly go through the partnering agencies that we worked with on the design and the upcoming construction from the New York State. We have New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Department of Health, Department of Transportation. Town of East Fishkill has been a significant partner of us, especially under Supervisor Hickman's leadership, and we look forward to working in the next 3 years with the incumbent Supervisor Nicholas D. Alessandro. And we also partner with Metro North Railroad, Dutchess County Department of Health, Dutchess County Department of Public Works, and the Central Hudson Gas and Electric, and Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. Project organization, just quickly going through the slide. At the top, we have US EPA. US Army Corps of Engineers is our authorized representative to oversee the day-to-day activities of the upcoming construction activities. That would be led by Conti Federal. This figure shows you the layout of the connection point that's near the intersection of Fiscal Road and Governor's Boulevard. That's where we will be getting the Cannon Wellfield water. So right here is the connection point. From there, the red line, the blue line, I should say, is the transmission main. We are going to be pumping the water from the connection point all the way to Route 82 to the Interconnection pumping station, which is situated to the northwest of the intersection of Route 82 with Beekman Road. And from there, we're going to run the water main all the way up to storage tank. That's going to be constructed on Dogwood Road. So project overview, we will be going through 3 incremental phases, phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 1, as I said earlier, is going to be the main water line. For the main water line, we have already secured the funding, about $25 million. That's all been taken care of. That's going to consist of transmission main and water main, all the way to storage tank site on Dogwood Drive. It's about 4.2 miles in length, and then we will construct pump station and storage tank. Once the phase 1 is done, we'll do the phase 2. That would be the branch main off of Route 82 to the houses to the west of Route 82 and up north on Route 82 to the east of it. I'll go to the figure later on today. So for the phase 2 branch mains, we are going to be running the main to East Fiscal Roads and County Road, which is Clove Branch Road. The length of the mileage for the branch main is about 4.6 miles. Finally, after all that is done, we're going to start the final phase 3, service connections. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say for phase 2, the award is pending. We have not secured the funding, but we expect to. And that work is expected to begin in winter of 2019 or early 2019. And the phase 3 service connections award is pending too. The funding will be done incrementally as well. That's why we have the 3 phases, phases 1, 2, and 3. And that work is going to start in the fall or later part of 2019. And under phase 3, we'll do all the service connections and meter installations at like approximately 300 homes and commercial businesses. At the end of that, we will decommission the private wells and the point of entry treatment POET or carbon filtration systems that EPA and DEC have installed at about 55 homes. So for phase 1, here's the timeline, all to be done this calendar year, 2018. So currently we are going through pre-mobilization, site mobilization, and preparation, and also some prep work at the storage tank site on Dogwood Drive. And in April, we will start the construction, starting with the transmission main, and then pump booster station, and then running the water main all the way to the storage tank. And concurrent with that would be the storage tank construction. So much of this work will be overlapping with one another, especially transmission main, pump booster station, water main to storage tank, and storage tank construction. So as part of the ongoing initial site preparation activities, you all got the EPA notification flyer that we sent out in early February that made the announcement of tonight's public meeting, public availability session, and also a brief description of the site prep activities that are taking place. As part of the site prep work, we are trying to finalize all the permit acquisitions, making sure all the customer access safety precautionary measures are being taken care of. We will also be conducting pre-construction before the construction starts in April. The survey, inspection, and documentation that would include photo as well as video. And we will be also installing some observation wells for water level measurements, because some of the work, especially the trench activities to lay in the water main pipeline, in areas where the water level is high. So we need to make sure that, we don't come into interference with the high water elevations. We also will be doing some geotechnical monitoring to do necessary sampling and analysis of the areas that the piping is going to be installed in. And finally, we are currently conducting some vegetation clearing and also preparing stormwater pollution prevention plan for work sites like the pump station and the storage tank. And there's a barn also towards the southern end of Route 82 that is being demolished. So let me just quickly go over what a typical work day is going to look like for active trench. Much of the work will be trenching to put the piping in, the water main piping and the transmission main piping. Hours of operation in general will be Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Those are on Town of East Fiscal roads. On the state roads, operation will be only from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. During a typical workday, we will also be clearing utility to mark out electrical lines, gas lines, so that the work that we'll be doing does not interfere with the utility markup areas. And daily traffic and site controls will be conducted. And also, once we put the trench, we're going to be cutting the asphalt, cut mills, and setup support system will be set up. And once the trenching is done, it's going to be simple excavation and direct load out of the excavated materials into trucks that will be covered on top and then transported offsite to a recycling facility. So basically, when we install a pipe, it's going to be a simple 3-step process. We're going to do bedding at the bottom of the trench, put like gravel and other construction materials to give support for the pipe, put down the pipe, and then on top of the pipe, we got to go into backfill. And the compaction will be done by a third-party engineering company. So there'll be a lot of materials handling during the active trench work. All the cuttings of asphalt, as I said earlier, will be sent off to a local recycler. So we'll be excavating materials, and all the construction materials that will be brought to the trench areas will be certified clean. They will be free of any kind of contaminants. They will be delivered to each work area, staged temporarily alongside the trench. Finally, at the end of it, we would do a backhoe placement in 8-inch lifts for required compaction spec. And the asphalt placement will be done daily for each job site. And we take traffic control very, very seriously, since we're going to have a lot of localized work sites taking place, especially along Route 82. And our one goal is to minimize impact to traffic flow. We have gotten most of the permits, if not the outstanding ones. We are getting them right now before the construction starts in April. There might be some work hour variance, especially on state roads like Route 82. There'll be some time we might do some night work, and to do night work, we will coordinate with and get approvals from Town of East Fiscal and governmental agencies, in particular, New York State Department of Transportation. There'll be advanced public notices, and we will regularly do communication in forms of signs, message boards, and bulletin boards. And when you approach a work site, there'll be a lot of high visibility. You will see one of the following: flagman barricades, reflective equipment, or trench boxes over any kind of intrusive work taking place. We have also taken care of environmental protection. Some of the work coming in the spring coincides with Indiana bat mating season, as we were told by New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. So we are complying with those requirements. As I said earlier, we will be complying with Prepared Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWIP. And as part of that, we will be doing spill prevention and control in the form of heavy equipment inspection for trucks and other machineries, and protection of migration pathways from work sites. For example, any water that's generated will be contained so that it does not migrate outside the work site perimeter. There'll be dust control, standard dust control, housekeeping, and all efforts will be taken to minimize noise generation. We take property asset very, very seriously, because a lot of the work will be done near private homes and commercial businesses. As I said earlier, before construction starts, we're going to do pre-construction structural survey. As part of that, we'll document photo, video, pre-work. We'll record and document ambient conditions. And part of that would be like seismic vibration monitoring, because once the construction starts, we are going to be using a lot of heavy machineries. So we want to make sure that we do this pre-work inspection and survey to make sure that what's going to occur during the actual construction does not impact the neighboring structural dwellings and other structures. So a project safety program in the form of communications, notifications, bulletins, site access coordination with governmental agencies and Town of East Fiscal, traffic control, excavation safety, and also where some of the trench will go for piping, pipe jacking, horizontal drilling safety. Horizontal drilling will be done in two areas. Horizontal drilling is underneath the road surface, so you don't have any intrusive activities on top. Right now, we are planning to do horizontal drilling, one on East Fiscal Road and the other one, Fiscal Road, excuse me, and the other one by the Waterkill Creek, and that's being looked at right now. And environmental controls that I just talked about earlier. So for phase one, transmission main starts from the connection point on Fiscal Road and Governor's Boulevard. It's going to be done in 7 segments. It's going to take you all the way up to where the pumping station is, Route 82 and Beekman, near the intersection. Yes. And then from there, it's going to be connected to Interconnection pump station. That's in the northwest corner of the intersection of Route 82 with Beekman Road, which is Route 9 also. And I have an illustration of what the pump station is going to look like. I mean, it looks like very ordinary building. You don't even know, that it's a pump station. It's a very, very compact. Everything that's needed for the pumping purpose is contained within it. And then once the transmission main has been put in place, we're going to go to phase one water main. It's going to come from the pumping station all the way up north. This goes like, south to north. Here's Route 82. It's going to run all the way up north to the storage tank on Dogwood Road. These two figures, I decided to include them in the PowerPoint presentation, just in case, you want to take a look at it a little bit more closely. And if you have any specific question during the question and answer section, either I can answer or some of the experts from Army Corps and CDM Smith can answer. So this is a water storage tank site layout, and the size of the storage tank is reasonable size. It will hold 0.31 million gallons or 310,000 gallons. The height is 30 feet and the diameter is 42 feet. And I have two illustrations of what the storage tank site will look like. Next one, please, Cecilia. Thanks. And these were made during the winter season, as you can tell. As you can see, all the trees are bare. So you can imagine during the summer season when all the trees are fully grown, you will barely see the storage tank. So next phase is phase 2. That's branch main installation. And quickly going through the sequence of construction. The planned start for the phase 2 branch main is winter or beginning of next year, 2019. Branch main installation will install branch mains to the curb stops of all the houses and commercial businesses. Length of the main pipeline is about 4.6 miles. Transmission main and water main was about 4.2. Branch main is about 4.6 miles. There will be 4 branches off of Route 82, 3 branches to the west of Route 82, and 1 to the east of Route 82. Going to the west of Route 82, the first branch near the southern end of Route 82 would be Old Farm Road, east and west to Timothy Lane, and then next Clove Branch Road, which is a county road 29, to Henry Drive, Gavella Road, and Barris Lane, and next Creamery Road to Hamilton Road and Drive, Canterbury Court, and Lanark Drive, and finally the northernmost branch to the east of Route 82, Hausner Drive to Joanne Road, Dogwood Road, Hemlock Road, and Ryan Road. That Ryan Road is where Hopewell Precision facility is at 19 Ryan Drive. So phase 2 branch main, you see these 4 branches, right? There are 3 to the west of Route 82. Here's Old Farm Road, Clove Branch Road, Creamery Road, and here's Hausner. So finally, phase 3, we are getting to the end of it. Service connection, that's where everybody's looking forward to. Certainly I am too. Planned start for phase 3, final phase 3 is fall of 2019, late 2019 next year. This will entail service connection to all the private properties. Initially, we would do a joint inspection. Joint inspection would be done by U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, contractor. That would be Conti Federal, and the property owner. And for each home, there will be unique specific designs we'll be doing, and we will secure access agreement and work order for the hookup. And to do each home and business, we would also secure a construction permit from the town of East Fiscal Building Department. Once all that is done, we would mold underground and HDPE, high-density polyethylene piping from the curb stop to the foundation, and then install the new service connection. Once all that is done, we will decommission the private well, and those homes that have the POET system, we would decommission the POET systems as well. And finally, we would do a full landscape restoration of any work that needs to be taken care of at the end, and secure a signed release from the property owner. So finally, I think it's the last slide. Finally, once all that work is done, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, we get to the final end of the construction phase. That's the operation and maintenance, O&M. And O&M commences when the phase 3 has been completed. We would do a startup, and also we would do a demonstration testing for the entire infrastructure for 14 days straight. And then once that's been done, all this time, obviously the town of East Fishkill and its water operator will be on site to inspect the O&M demonstration that's going to be done. And once all that has been done, The town of East Fishkill, being the future owner of the water supply infrastructure, will accept the transfer from EPA to the township. And as part of that acceptance and transfer, we would also furnish all the documents that we have generated, including operating manuals, master equipment list, and all the certifications of installation that we got from various manufacturers. So the contractor will be responsible for instructing the town operator for the startup, seasonal maintenance, and the use of the operation and maintenance manual, including any updates that will have been prepared by that time. And I think that was the last slide. So I think it took like 15 minutes. I'll give the mic back to you, and we can open up the floor for questions and answers.
You all have questions?
Check.
I have a mic that's going to go around so I can come to your seat.
I have a quick question. I work at,
State your name, please.
my name's Carissa Rodriguez. I work at Daddy-O's restaurant. And the road, are they going to be closed off? Going to be one lane? I know we only have one entrance in and out, and that's right on 82. So how is this going to affect us?
That's Turner Street, so that's.
To Turner Street.
I think they might have to go to the Conti. Keith, you can come up here, Keith. Please, that.
Good evening, Keith Walker from County Federal. The work hours that you saw on the slides have been petitioned to the DOT in an effort to work at night in some of the key intersections like Beekman and 82, Clove Branch Road. The Beekman and 82 will encompass the Turner Road entry to Daddy-O's. I've come by there several times to talk to you all. You're very busy serving food, so. If the DOT grants us those work variances, we're going to do everything in our power to minimize the impact to not only your establishment, but all of the commercial businesses along 82.
Can I just ask one more question? Will there be water restrictions when this is going on? Like, will we have still water supply? This is a new line, so it doesn't affect the current water supply?
Your water service.
We can answer that. Hi, I'm Drew Smith with the Corps of Engineers. Yes, this is not going to affect your current water systems that you have on your wells and communal well systems. This is going to be a new water line system, so as long as we're putting that in, you wouldn't have any adverse effect on your current water supply program.
Once this is completed, our project, Marie Ciafalo. Once this project is completed, our private wells will be totally eliminated altogether.
Yeah, it is the plan to decommission the existing wells.
Would there be any construction on the homeowner's part to do anything with it?
No, the contractor will handle everything.
Thank you. Glenn McBride. Will the water lines be going over or under the railway?
We're actually going to go through the railroad system. We're going to go around it. I don't think we'll have any contact to make that an issue.
All right, so you're not intending on going over the bridge, using the bridge as a vehicle to bring the water lines over the tracks?
No, we're actually going to be going over Railroad Avenue towards the rail trail.
Okay.
And cutting over that way to where Daddy-O's is on Turner and coming up 82 there.
All right, thank you.
Hello, I'm AJ from Hopewell. So I noticed on your org chart that you have a public liaison. will they be on this project full time? And in that case, in the interest of keeping the public informed, will they have a 24-hour information line like they usually do in other projects? And how will they disseminate information to the public?
I am your public liaison. I will not have a 24-hour service line, but there'll be a vehicle for you to get in contact with us. We will have an office complex located behind the Easy Storage and Hardware Store just off of 82 at the Railroad Bridge, which will have easy public access and great visibility. It is our expectation to provide as responsive a service to you that our contract will allow us to, and the feasibility to be responsive to you in as timely a manner as possible. It's our expectation to provide you the service that you deserve. You are also our customer, not just the EPA and the Corps of Engineers. We view the public as our primary customer as well. So I appreciate the opportunity to fix, to alter, to communicate as my contract allows through my client, and be as responsive as we possibly can to your needs during the phases of the project.
In addition, I'm the Community Involvement Coordinator. If you all have any questions, you can always call me, and I will address them and get the answers to you as expeditiously as possible. Any more questions?
Is the water going to be chlorinated? Donna Hellman. Is the water going to be, chlorinated?
Yes.
Oh boy. Then also, can we utilize our old well for water in the garden, washing the house, power washing the house?
Typically, once public water supply is in place, your local health department and the county health department frown upon use of the wells that are there.
Right now, the well's not that bad. I mean, I've been using it, and it's fine. It's not a minimal amount.
In addition, we won't be testing your private wells in the future, so if you start picking up some of the contaminants, you won't know about it. So it is the intention to decommission those wells with the homeowner's approval.
And how about drilling when you drill? You do your vertical drill when you're going through the foundation? Is that going to affect the foundation at all? If you got cracks already?
We will make all efforts to make the pipe enter into your home without causing any damage. And if perchance damage does occur, it'll be restored.
And as far as my driveway, I've got a big driveway, like $15,000 driveway, and I don't want it ruined.
Are we pulling?
It's gonna be all that more, No, that's in Missouri.
No, she said a driveway. If we need to excavate and do an open cut to install a pipe on your property, it will be restored to original conditions.
State your name, please.
Ann Cover. At the end of phase 3, what will you do with the test wells that are on private property? Will you be decommissioning them and closing them off?
Are you referring to monitoring wells?
Yes, because I have 2 of them on my property.
Okay, hi, Ann. We have no plans to decommission the monitoring wells that we installed part of the Remedia investigation. As Sal said earlier, the groundwater contaminant plume still exists, and it's migrating in the southwesterly directions. So many of these monitoring wells we likely will need to continue accessing them to study the nature and extent of current groundwater contaminant plume.
Well, if you're gonna access them, one of the issues we had that was remediated, because we had made an agreement that we would allow the test wells as long as the test wells were not left open and exposed. Will those agreements with people who have the test wells be still in place? Because I don't want mine just open. At one point, they'd actually left it open and walked away with the open pipes. And I made them come back and close them. But I wouldn't, are you gonna continue a nice agreement with the people who have them on their property?
Without a doubt. I do remember those phone calls at that time, man. But I can assure you that.
That's my biggest concern. I
Well,
don't want them left open on my property.
I totally understood. You had the legitimate complaint at that time.
Right.
And I think we addressed it subsequent to our phone conversation, I think.
And I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure that we're going to have that same agreement for care and caution of anybody in the neighborhood who walks by it.
Without a doubt. I'm not worried about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, David Hall. When you do the connections to the private houses, what's the estimated downtime that we won't have water in our houses between you disconnecting our wells and then hooking us up to the mains? All I need is an estimate. I mean,
About an hour?
you think about an
Very quick,
hour.
a day.
So as soon
Within
as
a
they
day.
walk away
Within a day.
from switching my house over, I'll be able to run my water.
Yes, within
And
a
it
day.
should
It's
only
very
take
quick.
an hour.
Yes.
Okay. And in regards to the woman who made the comment about drilling through her foundation, has it been considered just disconnecting where the wells enter the house and just connecting to that? Then you wouldn't even have to touch anybody's foundations or anything like that. Just something to consider when they come to your house and they talk to you.
I think part of the problem with doing that is that we have to put in pressure reducing valves and a water meter and other equipment that might not work out at the well location.
Okay, right. The water meters will be inside the house. I mean, that's what I grew up with, was them being inside the house. So, okay, I understand.
Hi, Deborah Hall, Hopewell. I was wondering if every home inside in the map area is going to definitely get the water that is that you are doing the district water, or are some homes going to be left out?
Every home within the water district will be connected if the homeowner allows us access onto their property.
Deborah, I think you are referring to the hookup area figure that we started providing to you guys like 7-8 years ago. The map and the map plan and report that was adopted by the town board 3 years ago or so mirrors the hookup area that you are used to seeing. So all those homes in that hookup area, including those homes on the fringes, like to the east of it, which is Route 82, all those homes on left and right side of Route 82 will be hooked up. Yeah, right there. Yeah, we have a map over there to your left.
I just have one more question. The other day, I lost electricity in the house, and therefore the fan stopped working for the vapor intrusion. I had a lot of contamination as far as the air goes before you installed the vapor intrusion system. What's going to happen with that, and are we going to try to get do something with the aquifer, the bioremediation that was supposed to be done?
Yeah, that's the operable Unit 1. The record decision was issued on that the year after in 2009. And And we are revisiting that remedy right now as we speak to see if there could be other ongoing natural attenuation components that might be playing a role in achieving drinking water standards, because we have been periodically monitoring the plume, not just the private well sampling, but also monitoring of the RI monitoring wells. We are seeing some significant decline in some of the contaminants, but not enough to be meeting the drinking water standards in the near term. So anyway, to cut to the chase, we are revisiting that remedy to see how we can enhance it, including if we might have to amend that record of decision. But for the last few years, we have put all of our resources, including any funding that, we could secure to operable Unit 2 water supply infrastructure. So right now we are revisiting the other operable unit.
Okay. There you go.
Hi, Rich Newmeyer, 1277 Route 82. I had several questions. I have a new well. It's a deep well. It's been tested in all regards. It's fine. Am I obligated to take your water, or can I just opt out of this whole thing?
I believe there's an ordinance in your town that says once a water district is established, you are supposed to hook up.
So I have to use your water and pay for it? I can't use my own water that's certified clean?
Well, it may be clean today. There's no guarantee it'll be clean tomorrow.
I mean, there's no guarantee of a lot of things. I don't know. It's kind of my calling, I think, right?
I think that's something that we would have to work with the town supervisor, D. Alessandro,
I mean,
with
I'd
those.
like to have it for a backup. I'd like to have it for a secondary supply.
I know you won't be the only one, but we know that, well over 90% of the folks in the area will hook up, but we are aware that there'll be some, that might be unwilling.
Yeah.
And we hope that they change their mind in the next few months. If not, we'll do what we have to do.
Okay, my residence doesn't appear, if you look at the Superfund site and the dark red zones, I'm like in between it. Also, I have, Keith, I've spoke to you over the phone several times. I have several large pine trees in my front yard. The base of their roots approximately 25 feet from the white stripe. They're healthy, mature trees. My house is approximately 90 feet from the white stripe. 82 is a bit, is a major highway now. I get a lot of traffic coming through there. I got to look both ways and run when I cross that road. My neighbor here, he can't go because he can't run that fast. But anyway, these trees are critical to me because they provide a buffer. They didn't get a red ribbon on them, and I was told that was because it would upset my wife. I didn't get an opportunity to sit down with Keith. Keith, you probably remember our conversation. We cherish the little privacy we have because of these trees, but they're like, if you look at how the pine tree comes down, the edge of it is probably 15 feet from the stripe. So I don't know if I'm getting a stay of execution on these trees or if they're going to take them down. And I certainly don't want to settle for a 2-inch pine tree. I'll be dead before the thing will do any good for me. I take 2 trees. It's not, if you go by my house, you'll see that I've got these trees in front, and it's a nice buffer. They're beyond the scope of the parameters for doing the trench.
Again, if you provide us your address, we'll look into those trees and what their status is going to be in the future.
Okay, will somebody be coming out then?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, one additional thing. The way my house is sitting, it's kind of like on a pie-shaped lot. In other words, the frontage is wider, and towards the back it gets narrower. My well currently being in the back, and I don't have too much sidage because I have a detached 2-car garage that sits to the left of my house. So I don't have too much room for a directional, well, not directional, we're talking about a mole. 4-inch mole is rather destructive because what you're doing is you're pushing it through dirt and you're compacting the soil and it's pushing against your concrete block. So I have the same concern about concrete block cracking or degradation of the mortar joints. And then, since my hookup is in the back, would you guys come around to the back and hook it up somehow? It'd be rather narrow, or would you try to hook it up from the front and come through from the front? Because that'd be more economical for those, for you guys.
Sir, we'll have to evaluate that as we get closer to it. Again, that's phase 3 work, but we're gonna start looking at it now during phase 1 and 2. But to answer your question tonight, we wouldn't be able to provide that. We'd have to take a look at the structure itself and see what would be the best, least impact installation advantage, because you don't want to have necessarily a water pipe coming in the front and running all the way through, especially if it's a crawl space area or places you have to finish sealing in. So we'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you. But in summation, basically you're telling me you're going to force me to turn my well off and decommission it?
Well, one of the issues, we can't leave the well connected to your home once a public water supply is installed, because there's cross-contamination issues that we need to be concerned about.
Couldn't have a plumber come in, one or the other, switch it back and forth, or even valve it that way?
We'd have to deal with your local Department of Health on that matter. But we can't have both sources of water coming into the home because of cross-connection issues.
Or could I elect to have it installed at a later date? That was also another question. Could I have it installed later? You just put the meter and run that 8-inch pipe down my highway and don't come to the residence.
No. In order for us to come on your property, you need to allow us to give us access to come onto your property and to complete the hookup of the public water supply system.
Okay.
And once that's done, then the well has to be disconnected.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Any more questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to opt not to take the water, Chris Villa. And is there a bunch of paperwork that needs to be signed that I'm going to disregard taking that water?
Well, then you will have to deal with your municipality and the Department of Health, because that's the only option we have to let them know that you're within the water district and you're refusing to hook up. The paperwork that's involved is the access forms you will be getting from the contractor to allow us onto your property to install the water supply system.
I understand that part, but I'm saying is from what happened in Shenandoah, people that opted not to take the water over there, they basically had to sign a bunch of forms after the fact that they opted not to take the water and they had to deal with their wells themselves.
I'll look into that as to what forms you're talking about, but I don't recall them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Dan Jackson, Route 82. I operate the farm just north of Clove Ranch. Do you know which side of the road that water main's going to be going up?
On Old Farm Road?
No, past Clove Ranch, the farm.
Yeah. It'll be on the opposite side. It'll be on the west side. It'll be opposite. It'll be on the
On the left-hand side going north?
left-hand side going north. That's between.
Okay, because we plant crops right up to the road, and if you're going to tear them all up, that'd be counterproductive. I don't think Conti Construction really has a corn planter.
I mean, we would hope it'd be in the right way. So, yeah. But.
All right, well, maybe we could have a discussion with the contractor ahead of time or something.
Do you know when you plan on putting in your crops?
May.
Okay. So we can head out there in April and work with you and do an approximate placement of it to make sure we don't tear it up.
Yeah, just so I would know the area that you guys need to disturb. Because that would be probably an optimum area for you to go right up through along the road and not even tear the road up at all.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to get off the road for DOT.
Yeah, so I mean, you might want to use that whole field, so. And I don't know if you would, do you need staging areas, or is that, you don't know?
How far off the pavement are you digging on a state road or a county road?
You do know, keeping probably 5, 6 feet.
On the state road, we are going to utilize the white line as our boundary or the asphalt. So where the asphalt ends, our trench will begin. It is a 4-foot wide trench, 6 feet deep. We will be using lane closures to allow our trucks and suppliers to deliver and pull material in and out, with the impact being as minimal as possible to the private and commercial properties along the corridor. There will be times, because of infrastructure or other impediments, that we will venture further off the road. Like Mr. Jackson alluded to, we will be approximately 6 to 8 feet disturbance area from the asphalt along your property specifically. On the county road, we will be excavating in the road on 29 and on Fishkill, or not Fishkill, on County 29. This is the only road, county road at this point. But and in Fishkill Road, town roads, we'll be excavating in the pavement. Along the county roads and the neighborhoods, there's a lot of DOT signs, utility poles, mailboxes. It's much more efficient and user friendly to cut the pavement, disturb the pavement, than it is to take all of your personal effects out of your yard and have to put them back. So our intent is to be as user friendly as possible.
My other question is, no one's discussed the money end of this, what the cost is. Do you only charge the people that are hooked up to it, or do they charge, say, a vacant lot that they go by that someday could have a house there? Do they charge that person, or only the people that they're hooking up to?
Let me clarify your question. You're asking for when we put in the water line and the curb stops and the connections, or are you talking about billing after the service is installed and activated?
My concern would be even later on when the town takes over this water system, can they charge someone just because it goes by their property, even if they're not hooked up to it?
Yeah, we're talking about service.
Yeah. So if there's no water service to the, like, if there's a vacant lot where there's no curb stop and no meter, that property itself will not be getting a water bill. But by the nature of that lot being within the water district, should there be a need down the road to retire debt or anything else, the vacant lots would also pay, I don't want to say prorated share, but it's a share that was worked out in the map plan report. There's a formula that dictates how like the money would be divided between like the commercial lots, the industrial lots, the individual 2 families, single family. It's all broken up in the map planner report, which was
Yeah, my concern is there's farms that have been put out of business because somebody goes by and says, well, there could be 150 houses on there, and they come up with a charge that's so astronomical that it puts the farm right out of business.
I'm trying to remember, Scott. I'm looking at Scott. I'm trying to see if we remember what it was. I thought we were very careful with that one particular area so that it didn't open it up for that type of scenario. Okay.
I thought Phil's farm was just for the house, though. I didn't think.
It's
No,
just-
it is
Yeah.
for hooking up, but my concern is some towns will actually charge because it goes by someone. And I know farms that have been put out of business because they say, oh, you could have someday 200 houses, so they come up with a charge of an amount because it goes by there.
All because you might have 200 houses?
Yeah, someday, so they come up with
not
a,
how.
No.
yeah, that's just my concern, that's all.
Yeah, but I can check.
Thank you.
He's asking about more of a beneficial use type charge. That's in the map plan report. That's a slightly different aspect, you know.
Yes, sir. If you can meet with us afterwards, we'll get your contact information and coordinate with you about the crops and the land. And we can schedule an appointment to make sure that we come up there and make sure that minimum impact on your operation.
Celia, in the front. In the front.
How often is the water tested, and do we get a report of every testing that's done with the well?
This is for the municipal, ones that are on the
Yes.
municipal water?
For what, this project?
Yeah, so the new water system will be a municipal water system that will be under the direction of, you know, the Department of Health for the town's water operator to comply with the testing schedule that they will set up. And every year you will be getting, they call it an annual water quality report that's required under the Right to Know Act. Yeah. So everyone will be getting that as part of
So
the people.
once a year that everything's tested?
It's once a year you will be getting the information, the report on all the testing that has been done in terms of the water quality that's been done throughout the year for your information. Yes.
And that's all in compliance with and required by the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act.
And the town does that for their other water districts also.
We have a question back here. One second. Yeah, it's Donna Hillman again. I was told by Mr. Walker that we were to hook up to the Cannon well eventually, which wouldn't be chlorinated. And also, he told me that eventually we could actually use our existing well if we wanted to for watering the garden and everything. He even went downstairs to look at my system to see if it was possible.
Well, your first question, the Cannon Wellfield water will be distributed through the East Fishkill supply system, so it goes through their treatment system where it'll be tested and chlorinated and then distributed into the Hopewell North system.
Okay.
I'm sorry, your second question was, I'm sorry, can you repeat your second question?
Is this system picking up any subdivision systems, water systems, or is it all new customers coming into the system? Are they picking up any subdivisions, so to speak, that have central water?
Only the homes within the boundaries of the water district are being picked up, the existing homes.
Only which ones, I'm sorry?
The existing homes and businesses.
Okay, we have a question back here.
Hi, Brian Kozlowski. I have a question about our annual fee for the water. Do we have any idea of how much that's going to be?
There was 3 years ago, there was a MAP plan report which was prepared and presented to the town, and I believe also approved by the state treasurer. Or, no. Okay. In that report, the user fees are laid out, what we estimated them to be based upon what we thought the conditions were. So you can look in that report for what your estimated cost will be. I don't recall the numbers right now.
Sal, where would they find that report?
It should be in the repository. It's called the MAP plan report, the project repository.
Scott, do you remember, I was trying to look it up from the cloud, I can't get connected. Do you remember what that annual, the estimated annual cost was?
Something on the order about $6 or $7 per 1,000 gallons, something like that.
Okay.
That plan report you can find out in the clerk's office in town hall.
You have another question?
If you don't get the meter, you don't have a curb stop, or you have a curb stop, and you don't have a meter, you're not gonna get charged, from what I'm understanding what you're saying.
We're not sure about that, and I think that's going to be up to the town on the billing and how they're going to handle that situation.
Any questions in the front? We're here till 8 o'clock. Okay, we don't come up here often. You can call me anytime, but let's ask these questions. You know, this is about your community. Come on.
Tim Hill. You were saying that is there a possibility for the underground plume to expand and go beyond, say, Hopewell Creek or any areas that are currently outside of this new water district area? Are there plans to expand this water district area in the event that it could spread?
We are not seeing any indication as to the expansion of the existing plume. And based on all the monitoring we have done over the last 6 years, including update of the groundwater contaminant plume, we have found the plume to be in the state of equilibrium. It really has not extended farther down below like Old Farm Road that much at all. And also like Waterkill Creek is the western boundary. It does not go to the west of the Waterkill Creek, nor does it go to the east of Route 82. Those are the boundaries, west and east of the plume. The plume is going in the southwesterly direction from 19 Ryan Drive between Waterkill Creek and Route 82.
Okay, so you don't think it could cross over the creek?
No, because we have monitoring wells too on the other side of the creek. We've never detected any kind of site-related contamination, meaning of volatile organic contaminants.
Okay. I live right on the creek, that's my...
Right.
What house do you live at?
Right on the other side of the creek in Dana Estates. Property.
What's the address?
Blue Jay, 18 Blue Jay?
18 Blue Jay, okay.
Does someone have a question up here? Here you go.
My name is Frank Savarese. My property borders on Hausner Drive. Will the line go on the east side or the west side of Hausner Drive?
I don't remember that detail.
How's that the east of Route 82?
On the south side of it?
We'd have to check the plan specs to be certain.
But it'll be in the road at that point.
David Hall again. Is the Cannon pumping station and filtration and treatment, is that built already?
Scott, can you provide an update?
Oh, here he goes, Scott.
I'm Scott Bryan, town engineer. We have 3 projects submitted to the health department. One project is the interconnection to Fishkill Road. Second project is the connection from the Cannon Wells to the future Hamlet treatment facility. And the third project is the treatment facility expansion itself. The first project, the interconnection line to Fishkill Road, we're very close to an approval from the health department. We expect it any day. Actually, that job was just put out to bid, and we're hoping to award it at the March town board vote meeting. The second bid is for the well connection. We're reviewing those numbers right now. Not quite sure if we're going to be able to award them in March, but hopefully in April. But we still have to look at the results of that bid. The third one is the filtration that's been submitted to the state health department as well as the local health department. We have comments back on that, and we're hoping to get a final approval in the next month or 2 and have that job out to bid this summer sometime.
So the town's work is very critical to our work because that's where the water is coming from, and we're pretty certain that both projects, ours and the town's, will coincide. Yes.
Well, we anticipate we'll probably be ahead of the EPA on this one. So.
Hi, Ann Cover again. Debbie had brought up the issue about the air filtration systems. When this is done, who is going to maintain care of those for us?
That's going to continue on.
Okay.
because that issue is not going to go away. You know, we still have contaminant plume underneath those homes, and there's still potential for vapor intrusion. So we will continue to monitor, do O&M on those subslab ventilation systems.
Okay.
Any more questions? Have you heard all the questions? Did you get all your answers?
Actually, I do have one.
1 second. Excuse me.
Nancy Foster, Creamery Road. Will the piping be on both sides or just one?
Just one.
Just one, and
Yeah.
then you can somehow connect on the other side.
We'll be going, across
Uh-huh.
to everyone's property. Yeah, the goal is not to open up the road from the water main, like if we're going across the road and into the homes.
So it can go under. That's it.
We're trying to limit as much. We're trying, as much damage to the roads and as much damage to private property as possible.
Okay, every question is a good question.
Just back to the point about the cost of water. If you figure the average house in this district uses maybe 175 gallons a day, you're probably looking at an annual water bill less than $500 a year, just to kind of give you an idea, $40 a month. For that $40 a month, I mean, you can fill your swimming pool without having to worry about, draining your or killing your well pump or going dry. You'll have to pay for the water in your pool, but if you have a 10,000 gallon pool, you're looking at 10 times 7, $70 bucks. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Even new wells, I appreciate people may have spent $10,000, $15,000 on a new well, but even a new well can have issues. A wire can get disconnected, or you could run dry, or in the future you could be contaminated when your neighbors stop pumping that water, and now you're the only one pumping it. Maybe down the road you're going to have a problem. So, I think for the low cost of water and the everything it provides you, if you lose power, you have no water, you can't flush your toilet. We have backup generators, so you're not going to have that problem. All those little things you don't stop to consider. For $40 a month, you don't have to worry about it. Not to mention, when at some point everybody wants to sell their house, and if all your neighbors are on municipal water and you're not, and the question is, well, why are they on municipal water? Well, if the groundwater is contaminated. Now maybe you're going to get less money for your house if you can sell it at all. So I hope everyone would just think about all the positives of being connected to municipal water. I realize maybe it's $500 a year out of your pocket, but for that $500 a year, you got a lot of peace of mind. So thanks.
I'd like to add to that. In addition to you'll be getting fire hydrants, which will likely reduce your fire insurance rates on your homes.
The people that choose not to hook up now, and you're going to leave a curb stop, I would assume that, say, 10 years from now, they want to hook up, it's going to be an out-of-pocket expense for these people. And I have no idea what that costs, but I'm assuming it's probably several $1,000s to set that up, and all the headaches coordinated with Department of Health and having a meter put in and all that other stuff.
And you have to abandon your well.
Right, and then you have to pay to have your well abandoned too at that time. So there is a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration.
If I can say something, EPA has hooked up many communities to public water, so all of your questions are very similar to other communities. So we just hope that you'll consider allowing us to do that for you.
Nick D'Alessandro, East Fiscal Supervisor. To add to what Mr. Hall said, in the future, in 10 years, who knows what the district is going to look like if we expand it, and what the water capacity will be then. Maybe we don't have capacity to have you into the district then. So a lot of things to consider. If you have questions in the future and you can't reach anybody here, you can always call my office. I'll get you the answer. If I can't, I will call anyone I can, but 221-4303. But thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Hi, Lorena Velez. I have a few trees on my property that need to be cut down, and I was wondering if you know when that's scheduled for.
What's the address?
107 Creamery Road.
One, right?
Yeah, so one tree on the corner.
One tree on the corner. Do you know when?
We had a DOT pre-con inspection on Thursday of last week, which was the predecessor for us doing any work on 82. We expect any day now to get the confirmation from DOT and the authorization to move forward on clearing. So we anticipate over the next 2 weeks having a crew come down 82 to start your clearing and remove the designated trees that have been marked.
I would just like to express gratitude for this project and all the years of hard work, heart and soul that have gone into it, and Deborah Hall's efforts. We all really owe a round of applause to Deborah, because we wouldn't be here without what she's done. But thank you for all the project management. We could be in Flint, Michigan right now.
Yes.
And I think we just have to be very grateful that this project is happening.
Any more questions? Well, like I said, we're here till 8 o'clock. If you want, you can ask us individually any questions you want. You can mingle with your community, and we'll be here till 8. Thank you for coming.